I just know what gunners are, and I know what their daughters are, and I know what they do when they get off the ship, because they've been on there for like 6 months or 12 months or 18 months. Welcome to another edition of Drinking with Craig and Roger.
Yeah.
I'm Roger.
And I'm Craig. This started with me just giving you this for Christmas, this Gunner's Daughter Milk Stout. And then we thought, that's not enough to do a video. We need to do a little bit more than that. So we've come up with a little bit of a plan for you based on what we had on hand.
If you like stout, the iconic one is Guinness Stout.
Absolutely. That's where everyone starts.
Now available with a little widget in it that gives you, a nitrogen-based head, and that's the way it's served in England.
So I'm calling this video, if you like this, try this. So this most people have had. Delicious beer. I still love them. When I was in Dublin, I had what me and my wife called the Day of 1,000 Guinnesses. Still love it. But we've got a few other things to branch out and try if you're a fan of this one. These are not the exact same, but they're not a far leap.
And we have Left Hand Milk Stout.
Yes.
Yeah, Left Hand has been around for several generations, 30 years or so, or something.
Yeah, American craft brewery.
And craft brewery, they do a lot of good stuff. And this is their version of a milk stout.
And they are out of Colorado, so that's kind of interesting. And then what I gave you for Christmas, which you've never had, I guess, to this
not yet,
or heard of. This is Gunner's Daughter Milk Stout from Mast Landing Brewing Company, who are out of Maine, from Westbrook, Maine. I was blown away by this when I first tried it, by how much flavor is in here for 5.5% alcohol. All these are lower alcohol stouts that, let's just get into them and see, what we think.
And here is the Guinness.
Yes, let's give it a try.
Notice that its head is very light.
Yeah, very much. It has a thick, white, foamy head, creamy looking, in comparison to the other two, which have little residual carbonation head left in them.
Yeah.
It's a classic for a reason. Boy, does it go down easy. It's Guinness.
Oh, yeah.
Very light. I mean, I consider Guinness a light beer in a way. In terms of calories, it's comparable to a lighter beer. It's less calories actually than I think a Budweiser per volume.
Well, we did a video not too long ago about Sam Smith's, beers, and all of them were like 5%. And
alcohol,
a lot of the ones that you find in the UK are less than 5% by a significant amount.
I think Guinness is 4.2, something like that.
Yeah, and the whole point there is that you want to sit around and drink a reasonable amount of this and still be having lucid conversations, because you don't really want to go home. You want to stay in the pub, because when you go home, it's a very small place that doesn't heat very well and whatever else. So,
back in the day, you had to sleep with your animals. For warmth in the winter.
Yeah, and that's the origin of the public house.
I mean, people literally sleep with them, not have sex with them.
People spent their time there. But these days, even if you have, a reasonable flat, it's kind of a lot of fun to go socialize somewhere else where you don't have to clean up after you're done and whatever else and send folks away. So the pubs are very busy. Guinness is such a well-known thing. When I was in London in 1995, I went into a pub and asked for a Guinness, and guess what?
What?
They were out of it.
What?
And it wasn't going to be resupplied until the next day. So I got a bidder and was very disappointed.
Yeah.
Then I went across the street to another pub, and I asked the very attractive, bar girl, and I got a Guinness.
Yes, and what did you think?
It was very nice. I enjoyed it a lot. And then I was sitting there by myself. I didn't want to, hit on the bar girl, so I saw this older couple sitting there, and I just walked up and introduced myself and asked if I could join them, and I did. And we talked and had a good time for the evening. And that's what their pubs are about. They're
Yes.
public houses. People get there, they socialize, they enjoy drinking. They spend 3-4 hours there sometimes, and they don't want something that's going to put them under the table right away. So
Yeah.
that's why Guinness is like it is.
Made for the pub. You get light hints of like coffee, roasted malts, caramel.
And a very nice
Vanilla.
a very nice finish. Oh yeah, it's
Oh
good.
yeah, I Guinness is great. It's a Guinness. I frequently order Guinness, when I'm out in different contexts. So
All right.
great beer. So now let's move on. If you like Guinness, you should check out Left Hand Milk Stout. Check it out.
Absolutely.
This is not as far as as this one is away from Guinness. So let's check this out.
Ooh.
Definitely has a heavier body, a little bit heavier body. It's got more flavor without, and I mean, it has a little bit heavier body, more flavor, and a much more robust finish. But I think we're talking similar flavor profiles here amongst the two. If you like Guinness, step up. And I think this is like a elevated version of many of the flavors that are in Guinness.
Oh yeah, but another thing is, the Guinness Stout, at least traditionally, is still, and they infuse nitrogen in it when they pour
Oh
it.
yeah, oh yeah, that's
and
a big
that's
part of
what
it.
you've got here is a very nice head that sits
Creamy.
there forever,
Yeah.
and you can just sort of sip on it. Now, this stout, the left-hand milk stout,
Yep.
doesn't have that kind of head, and you can see that the foam is a little, colored. It's tan.
Yeah.
And that's because it is not a nitrogen-based carbonation.
CO2
It is
based.
carbonate. Yeah, and that's it. But it's very nice. It's a little heavier.
Definitely a little heavier. Like if you like Guinness, but you want more flavor, but in a similar sphere, let's go with this Left Hand Milk Stout, which is delicious.
It is great.
It's a much more significant drink in terms of flavor, but it's not a crazy heavier body. And it's only 6% alcohol, so it's not going to impact you significantly. Although, if Guinness is 4.2% alcohol, then this is nearly 50% stronger. So you're gonna have to drink fewer of them, but I'm going out on a limb here and saying, because of how much bigger the flavor is and how much longer the finish is, you won't be tempted to come back for a heavy sip as often as you will with the Guinness. So you're gonna end up about the same.
I think
Over
so.
a night. That's what I think. And I think there's definitely more interest here. This is a nice thing to check out.
And even if it puts you under faster, it's worth it.
Well, of course, we agree with that. We're flavor hounds.
All right. Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
if you like Left Hand Milk Stout,
Let's move on.
check this out. Now, this is not a bigger, crazier version of, it's not an Imperial Milk Stout. This is that, again, the Gunner's Daughter Milk Stout. This thing is just, wow. This is kind of what they call like a dessert stout, but this is in a 5.5% alcohol body.
But that's what a gunner's daughter is. Someone who, is the daughter of a person on a sailing vessel or even a modern vessel that supervises the firing of cannons. That's a gunner.
I don't know if you're going to get that in the beer, but let's give it a try.
Well, now,
Can we not harp on history for too long here?
cannons are in several categories.
Oh my God.
Really short-barreled ones are called
Who
mortars.
cares? Why are we talking? This is beer. We're talking about beer here.
Longer-barreled ones are called howitzers, which have a very high projectile. But on ships, the barrels are even longer, and they're called guns, which is why we talk about handguns, because they have a very long barrel in proportion to whatever's going. And for those of you who are not, aware of this, that's why I talked about weapons. Now, this is a very nice weapon for your taste buds.
So this thing is markedly different.
Ooh, it's a lot more nutty, I think. Taste. Whoa, what is
There's
that?
a lot in there, exactly. This is like,
Whoa.
yeah, exactly. All I can say, it's hard to put my finger on it. It's one that rewards repeat tastings. I can say maybe hazelnut in there for sure. It's a little sweeter and just has so much going on that you normally only find in imperial stouts that are 10, 11% alcohol. This is half of that. Beautifully aromatic and balanced milk stout. Delicious notes of peanut butter, coffee, and dark chocolate. And I think that pretty much gets it. The peanut butter is what I was kind of detecting but unable to describe.
Oh, well, again, when you hear these things, that suggests that then you're more likely to taste it.
No, I was picking up on it, but I just
But there
couldn't
it is,
put
yeah.
my finger on what
that
it
is,
was.
That is what it is. There's a little bit of peanut butter in there. And they may have
Chocolate,
actually
coffee.
thrown it in there, but
It's freaking delicious.
They wouldn't be the only brewery to throw peanut butter in their brew.
No, but for its strength, for its alcohol percentage of 5.5%, I was blown away by how good this was and how much flavor it has. They packed so much flavor into a 5.5% alcohol beer.
Oh yeah, that's pretty nice. That means you can drink 3 of these for 2 of the others.
That's right.
Higher. Yeah,
That's right.
Anyway.
Oh no, I mean maybe even 4 for 2.
Yes.
You know, if we're talking those imperial stouts, like wow, this is so freaking good.
Well, all I can say is
It's a huge standout.
This Gunner's daughter is blowing me away. That's all I can say.
Well, good.
And if you like what we're doing, being blown away, just like and subscribe. And if you want to ring that little bell for notifications, do that.
That's a good idea.
It helps the channel.
Yep.
I mean, we might even make, $50, $60 this year. Who knows? Until next time, cheers.
Cheers.
And stouts to you.
Okay.